Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Football Manager Experiment, where today we've got a little request that came in to turn the Philippines into having some wonder kids, and it's one that I've always liked doing. I'll be doing plenty more of these sorts for different nations, so leave a comment down below if you want to see your nation or any other nation around here. But basically what we do is we try and turn a small nation like the Philippines into a powerhouse, or see how high we can get them in a few years. What we've done is we have given the Philippines football clubs all 5-star facilities. So you can see there, youth recruitment, junior coaching facilities, training facilities are all maxed out. They are going to be top as they can. We'll see how they can get on in both league format, as well as keeping an eye on this world ranking and how the Philippines in general do in world competition. We can see they're 125th at the moment in the world rankings, and their best player is Neil Etheridge, who I'm sure you're fully aware of as being the player who currently is at Birmingham, but we've previously seen him playing for the likes of Cardiff as well. So with that, let's jump ahead and see how they get on. And here we are then. So 5 years on, and we can already see a growth. From 125th in the world rankings, they've shot up to 90th. So, I mean, quite the jump. We can see that they're around the likes of Bahrain, Jordan, Georgia, Kosovo, Benin, Panama, Lebanon. So still nothing spectacular, but still a fantastic improvement on where they were down in 125th, where they would have been around the likes of India, Sudan, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Palestine, Sierra Leone. So some great work so far. You can see the increase there. A massive shooting up initially, and they've kind of slowly started to raise up the rankings, breaking into the top 100, which is great. Looking at their key player at the moment, Patrick Wenceslau, still at ADT in the Philippines, so we can see that he's still around there, but some good stats on him: finishing, first touch, heading, some very, very good performances overall. Let's take a look at schedule though. And if we jump straight back to the originally, we can see that when it comes to Asian Cup qualifying groups, they've seemed to have smashed it. They've been smashing teams left, right, and centre, making it through to the Asian Cup Group B, where they got knocked out in the second round against South Korea. So a bit of a shame in that one, but some good results otherwise, beating China, Palestine, and Kuwait. They also were in the World Cup qualifiers, obviously, losing to Thailand, but beating Chinese Taipei, drawing against Syria, which is a big result for them. And beating the likes of Sri Lanka as well. We can also see that the SEA Championship Group A against Malaysia, Myanmar, Vietnam and Thailand. So they got a few draws in that one. Unfortunately, they didn't put them through, but you can see again, they've got another in 2025 this year. Fantastic results in the Asian Cup qualifying group, which means that they will, looks like they're likely to get through to the qualifying groups anyway, so that's amazing to see. And John Patrick Straub, who's a real player, has started to develop quite nicely from the Leipzig team. So a very, very good result. Patrick Wenceslau for ADT is up there as well, so he's the big guy in the squad. If we take a look at the Football League though, see who's won it recently. I mean, it's been quite up and down, which is quite nice to see. There's a lot of interesting kind of results there. ADT seems to be the bit more of the big men on campus. But with that, let's take a look at how they've got on in their schedules. We can see that they've had a good few competitions. The Champions League group stage though, not great. They're losing a lot of games, unfortunately, to April 25th in the group stage, MacArthur, GZ City. So they're not doing fantastically. I mean, the Confederation Cup for ASEAN zone, they managed to get to, what's this, the semi-final against United City. How did United City do then in that competition? Because they must have done pretty well, because they seem to have got, so maybe when's this? Confederation Cup Interplay Zone semi-final against Ahal. There's a lot of competitions going on here, which I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure on and how they work, but they've been there's some that are quite impressive. We can see the likes of a few groups going through, so they're in and around it. They're not necessarily smashing teams or winning competitions necessarily, as you can see here, lots of losses. But the likes of United City, I don't know what's happened there. The likes of United City, as well as Ascal's development team, ADT, they're looking pretty decent, and they look like they are growing. Still got some good facilities as well. So let's jump ahead again and take a look at how they continue to grow. All right, then. So it looks like they have stagnated a little bit. Unfortunately, they've dropped down to 95th with 5 years also progressing. Patrick Wenceslau is still their best player, still at ADT though, so no massive transfers outgoing. Ugelvik is still a real player. Lloyd Fagerli, again, another real player. So nothing really stand out on that front. When we look at the schedule, have they managed to go any further with things? They've managed to reach the final of the SEA Championship, but unfortunately lost to Thailand 6-1 on aggregate, so a bit of a demolishing there. But it's good to see them reaching a final, that's for sure. If we continue to go back, World Cup qualifying, they don't seem to be anywhere near, unfortunately, reaching that. They've managed to get to a semi-final again in the SEA, losing to Thailand, who seem to be the kind of dominant force in that group of countries. We can see again, World Cup qualifying though in the second round, they did a lot better, but obviously they've got a lot of good teams to have to be facing in that, like Saudi Arabia and South Korea, so along with Iran. So it's not likely they'll ever even end up getting to the World Cup. But it's good to see their progression and that they've continued to get better as time goes on and get into the cup finals. There's a few cup finals and they're always getting a bit closer, which is good to see. Let's take a look, though, at the Philippines Football League. Has anything else happened there? Stallion have ended up winning it. That's very cool. Another team other than what looks like Kaya, ADT and United City, who are the usual lot to have won the league. So that's good to see. I guess there is always that chance of someone else winning it when they have it in this style of competition. They seem to play each team 4 times. So it's quite a small season, really, for the 6 teams having played each other. But ADT continued their run until Stallion were able to take over, which was nice to see. Speaking of ADT, as they are kind of the big guns in the leagues, let's see how they've got on schedule-wise with the likes of Champions League group stage. So they get into the Champions League group, but not having much to go off otherwise. Losing a lot of games. Beat Johor DT, who are the Malaysian team, but quite comfortably as well. But not much else, to be quite honest. They've all looked quite low down on that. However, if we see here, they won the Confederations Cup in 2027, so that's quite cool. So they are winning more things. The country is getting better, as we've said, so it's good to see. Let's jump another 5 and take a look how they've progressed. And here we are then. They've gone up to 78th place, so they have continued a bit more growth after we saw them decline a little bit before. They've shot up to 78th around Kosovo, El Salvador, Iceland, Panama, Congo, Hungary. So in a lot more better company when it comes to better quality sides, which is good to see. Still not quite in that top 50, but still very, very good. Patrick Wenceslau is still their key player, still looking very, very good. How's he getting on for, 145 caps and 79 goals for the Philippines, and smashed in 120 goals and 242 appearances for ADT. Looking very, very nice. What is his kind of valuation at the moment? Is it very high? 28 to 85,000, so not much at all, which is a little bit surprising, really. Let's take a look at their schedule. I didn't mean to skip past that. We can see here, Asian Group B reached the second round to play Iraq, but ended up losing that. World Cup qualifying first round, which is good to see. We can see that they've got through to play a few more clubs. Drawing against Japan, what a result that is. That is very impressive. As SEA, again, reaching the final, but losing to Thailand. Their nemesis, Thailand, they just can't seem to beat. Some more good wins there. And again, another final against Thailand in the SEA Championships. Asian Cup, reaching the semi-final, but again losing to Thailand. I mean, it's quite a common sight at the moment, isn't it? They beat Japan on penalties to get through, having scored in the 122nd minute. Wow, what a game that is. That's so cool. But they weren't able to beat Thailand. I mean, one day we will see that they've beaten Thailand, but I don't think it's going to be at the moment. That's a shame. It's a real shame, really, isn't it? But we've got another 5 years to take a look at. If we see here, we can see it will be either Kaya or ADT to win this one, with a few more teams coming in and out now. So it's not just ADT who's getting those wins in the league, which is nice to see. There's a few more other clubs as well. Mahalik Manila struggling a little bit with 8 points. Mendiola on 10. So those two teams are really, really struggling with their performances, which is interesting to see. I don't quite understand why they're so doing so poorly. I mean, have they had to sell? What have they done with this? They had 5-star as well, just like everybody else. So I don't quite understand why they've dropped right off like that. Is it funding maybe that's caused the issue there? Maybe they're not bringing in enough money to be able to kind of cover that. But there you go. We'll jump one more year, take a look at how things go, and see if they can reach any higher than 78th place in the world rankings. So it's 82nd place they've ended up. Unfortunately, they did decrease slightly. So their highest we've seen was 78th. I'll have to take a look if they have managed to reach any higher than that. But in line with Congo, better than Hungary, Kosovo, Suriname, New Zealand, but just below the likes of Togo, Finland and the UAE. So not bad, really. A very, very good improvement. We have got a new player as the key player, though. Eric de Leon is their next big star, the centre-back. He's 16 years old. So, I mean, the fact that he's their big star is quite interesting. Jay Soriano is up there as well with quality. Patrick Cruz, Galacio, Araujo, Manuel and Evangelista for ADT. It looks like the highest rating they did get was 78th in the end. So after quite a big drastic drop really over the last couple of years, they've managed to climb their way back up to 82nd. But a bit of a shame really. But Kaya look like they've maybe taken over. Let's take a look, though, at this. I mean, just looking there, we can see they managed to draw in the first leg, but ended up losing 7-0. Oh, poor Philippines. They've done so well to get so far, yet they continue to lose to Thailand. World Cup qualifying as well. They seem to have done a little better. Still not making the World Cup quite yet. With the Asian quarterfinals, losing to South Korea. There we can also see, if we go back again, another loss to Thailand. This one was quite a big one. Oh, poor boys. A 3-0 loss in the World Cup qualifying against Thailand there as well. And again, no World Cup for them. And we can see once more another 5-0 loss on aggregate against Thailand in the SEA Cup final. I mean, if we just look at that, we can just see kind of that Thailand won it constantly, like forever, since the game started. The fact that it's been so close otherwise is gutting. They get there and then it's just not quite enough. But it's such a shame, such a real shame for them. Let's take a look at the clubs though and competition wise in the Philippines. We can see ADT Stallion, Kaya, United City, again, it's between those four who are fighting for that. But again, Mahaki Manila and Mendiola are still very, very low down on that front. So the league has risen to 14th. I don't know, from 19th, I believe it was, in 2035. But so an improvement. I should probably maybe take a look at that next time if we do this again and see if the league can improve itself in Asia. But rising up to 14th isn't bad at all. It's just behind the Chinese national first division, the second division in Korea, and Japanese second division as well. And just above Saudi first division and Iranian first division. So it's in and around there. But there you go. Bit of an interesting one. That's for sure. I don't think ADT any changes would have really happened in the schedules. Yeah, you can see they're still not quite reaching that level. But the national team's doing a lot better since we've given them that funding and stuff. But there you go. We will leave it at that. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and of course leave a comment down below of any other nations you want to see in this sort of experiment or any other experiments at all. And I'll catch you in the next one.